All right, so we are practicing for the quiz tomorrow, and we have just taken this thing in general form and made it in vertex form. That means this is the vertex, but it's not 4 comma negative 30. It's what? Negative 4 comma negative 30. All right. Next thing, I'd like you to try this one right here. You'll have to factor something out of this and this, and I'm warning you, don't factor that thing out of the 10. Leave the 10 alone. Move the 10 over here and put in the plus blank minus blank, and factor out the thing that can come out of there. Try it. There it is, that kind on the test. You have to know that kind. You can tell some of you are already done. You saw the problem and just did it already. That's cool. For those that are done, does it come out with the nice numbers, or do you have to use a fraction? Nice numbers, good. All right, so I'm going to take out the negative 2. What do I have left? X squared plus 2x. And I need my lines, plus a line and minus a line, and plus 10. This is the perfect square part. Half of 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. But instead of x plus 1, I can say x plus 1 squared. And then the leftovers. Oh, it'd be so easy to forget. I got to have a negative 2 right there. Everybody remember that? How many remembered that? Okay, good. It's so easy to forget. So that makes positive 2 plus 10 is positive 12. If your number is wrong at the end, it's probably because you forgot to times by negative 2 because there was 1 there. All right, there's your answer. Raise your hand if you had it right. That is at least 3/4 of the class. Okay, yes. Because this one's negative 2 being times by that, so I need a negative 2 to be times by that to make it fair. Know what I mean? This line is supposed to cancel that line. So, all right, now, final answer then for the vertex of this one would be it was at negative 1 comma 12. Remember, it's this the opposite of this number because it's counterintuitive. It's on the inside. All right, and the next one. Use the quadratic formula. Well, you can't yet. Why not? There's a negative 1 over there, and it's supposed to be what over there? 0. So I need to add 1 to both sides. And then I'll have 2x squared plus 4x plus 1 equals 0. Now that it's equal to 0, now try it. Here's the tricky part. You're going to get an answer that's like square root of 8 in there. You can't leave it that way. You've got to simplify it down and cancel whatever you can cancel. Okay? These are hard for a lot of kids, so be careful at the end as you're canceling. I'll pause for a minute while you try that. Here we go. All right. Here's what you should have done. Negative b, negative 4, plus or minus the square root of b squared, 16, minus 4 times a, which is 2, times c, which is 1. All over 2a, 2 times 2 is 4. And then you have negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus 8 makes 8. All over 4. I warned you that was going to happen. Now the square root of 8 you can break into root 4 and root 2, and that would be 2 root 2. So I could say negative 4 plus or minus 2 root 2 all over 4. And you can't stop there either, because there's something in this and this and this. What's in all of them? 2. 2 goes in here negative 2 times. 2 goes in here once, and 2 goes in there twice. Final answer, negative 2 plus or minus root 2 over 2. Raise your hand if you had that right. And 3/4 of the class got it. The other 1/4 of the class, who wants to share, like, where did you mess up? It'll help other people, yes. That's it. You took a 4 out of everything. And you were thinking this could be like a root 4 and a 4 and a 4. But this would have to actually be a 4 to make that work. Oh, you just canceled these two? Doink, doink. Ah, you can't do that. Has to be 1 here and here and here. Has to be in all 3 parts. So just to make that clear again, n plus 1 over n, that would not cancel. You would have to have an n and an n and an n. Then they could all cancel. And would turn into 1, 1, and 1. So you'd have 2 over 1, which would equal 2. And doesn't that make sense? 2 n's divided by 1 n would be 2. All right. So there has to be 1 in each to cancel it. Yes. Right. Gotcha. Okay, okay. You tried to take out a 4 out of everything, but they really didn't all have a 4 to give. All right. Thank you. That helps me to understand where your mistakes are and helps other kids to see that they're not alone. All right. Moving on. There's a few things we could ask you about in these real-world problems. What's this part called right there? Vertex or the maximum. You are correct. It's called a maximum if it's that way. What if the parabola is this way? Then it's called a what? Minimum. All right. How do I know which way it's going to be just by looking at the equation? Like, let's say I had this. Can you tell right away, is that going to be a parabola like A, or is that going to be a parabola like B? All right. Ooh, I'm glad we talked about this. The negative out in front there, that means it's an upside down parabola. That would be like A. If it has a negative, it'll be upside down. Did you notice all those formulas we had started with -1/2, blah, 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 blah. If there's a negative in front, it means it's going to be upside down. Remember, this means a flip of a normal parabola. Normal parabolas are like this. If there's a negative out front, they're flipped like this. So if you see it's negative, it's kind of like a frowning face. You get that? Aren't negative people have a frown instead of a smile? Positive people have a smile. Positive number, it's upright like a smile. Okay, moving on. If you have this formula here, you have the gravity constant right there, you have the velocity right there, and you have the initial height right there. So if I ask you to write an equation, that's something you'd have to know how to do. Let's try one right now. So let's say that Brent is, he gets frustrated with his skateboard. And his skateboard, okay, we'll go with snowboard. Okay, and his snowboard is sitting helplessly on the ground in the snow, and he puts his boot underneath it and he flips it up in the air. And here's the numbers behind it. It starts at 0, and he does it with an initial velocity of 20 feet per second. He's really mad. So you should be able to write it. Since I used feet, you should know which to use. You can write me the whole equation for that now. Now, if the part of the test you're on doesn't have a calculator, that's all we'd ask is to tell the equation. So I'll say the information again. He starts at, the thing is 0 off the ground because it's on the ground. And he flips it up at 20 feet per second. All right. So do you get I need a y or an h of t or something in front? Then do you get that it always starts with -1/2? And then what number goes here if we're on the earth and we're using feet? 32. If you forgot that, write it down. 32 is something you're not going to be given on the test, so you'll have to know that. How about if I had said meters? Remember what that is? 9.8. Very good. Okay. And then the velocity goes here, and the velocity I said was 20 feet per second, and that's how you knew you should use feet here. So I said feet here. And then you need a t, and then the height off the ground is 0. There you go. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, good. Now you don't need to review that one. Yes? If you shorten this up to -16, I'd be fine with that. Yes? Oh, if you use an x versus a t, I'd be fine with that too. I just noticed something major is missing. Yeah, or in this case, t squared. Easy to forget that. I would have taken off a half on the test or something. All right, moving on. If they ask you, how high is the angry bird at 1 second? I'd need to go time is 1 second to find that. You'd have to use a calculator to figure that out. We talked about those yesterday. And I can put in that thing called second calculate value. As soon as I type in second calculate value, it brings up this, x equals blank. And you fill in whatever you want. Time is x, so if they want it how high it is in 1 second, put a 1 there, and my calculator will tell me what the spot is. So second calculate value. What is it called when you do that? Second calculate what? Maximum. How about that? Second calculate what? The 0. Intersect is if you make another line. You have 2 lines, then you do what's called intersect. On this one, there's only 1 line, so you can't do intersect. Okay, so this is calculate value. This is maximum. This would be the 0. Remember, that's not where the ball lands, it's what? When the ball lands. It's a time. Okay, moving on. I guess they say we're done, but I have one more thought here. If you said this, what's the vertex? Nope, it's not shown. It's not -4, +3. It's not any combination of 4 and 3. Because what form is this in? This is in factored form. This is not in vertex form. You can't tell what the vertex is. So, how do I get to the vertex form? Well, first I have to multiply this thing all out. Multiply that out and then times everything by 2, you know. And then, once that's done, what's that thing that gives you vertex form? Completing the square, there you go. I want you to multiply this one all the way out and then do complete the square on it. This is as hard as it gets. Because first you have to multiply it out. That's hard. That's super hard. Then you have to go to the next step, which is complete the square. You have to factor the 2 out. Pause for a minute. First, x squared. Outside -3, inside +4. Adding -3x plus 4x makes plus x. And the last makes -12. Then I gotta multiply everything by 2 though. So now 2x squared plus 2x minus 24. Now I gotta factor that 2 back out again because I'm now gonna start into that complete square deal. 2x squared plus 2x plus a line minus a line minus 24, and then factor out this perfect square part. Factor 2 out to the front, x squared plus x plus a line minus a line minus 24. Then half and square, half 1 is, it's going to be a fraction. I can handle that. Half and then square it. And then what is actually 1/2 squared? It's 1/4. And then this 2 here is so easy to forget to put it there. Alright, then 2 times, this part has to be perfect, exactly the same. I'm going to use the half here, because a half times a half makes a 4. And then 2 times 1/4 is a half. So then I've got minus 24 and a half. Use a def. Final answer. You need to be that good on the test for the hardest question. Any parts that you didn't get from that? Okay, the one thing that you guys, I was surprised you weren't that good at, let's just check it again. Which one could be right, based on how, whether it's a smiley or a frowny? It's got to be B, because there's a negative out front, so it must be like this. So if I ask it a different way, which one is it? Is it going to have a max, or is it going to have a min? It's going to have a max, because it looks like a frowny face, so it's going to have a max. Okay, I think you're ready. Well, time will tell, because your homework for tonight, do that homework, and you check it with the answers that are provided. Make sure you're understanding it, and your quiz is tomorrow. Remember, it's a quiz, but it's in the 85% category, so you definitely want to study for it.